Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to pull out the key insights from sources you share, helping you get informed fast. Today, we're digging into something you probably deal with almost daily, maybe without even thinking much about it. Contracts of adhesion. You know, signing up for an app, starting a new job, getting your internet connected. These standard agreements, they're everywhere, especially common in places like the Philippines, but they can hide some real unfairness. So, our mission today, let's unpack what they are, how you can spot tricky parts, and what legal defenses you actually have.
That's right. Contracts of adhesion are basically those pre-written, standardized terms. One party, usually the bigger company, sets them, and you generally don't get to negotiate. It's pretty much a take-it-or-leave-it deal. They're used so widely, and that really highlights a fundamental power imbalance, which naturally raises concerns about fairness.
Okay, so they're common, they seem efficient, but why are these standard agreements, these boilerplate terms, potentially problematic? What's the real issue here?
Well, the core issue, fundamentally, is that significant power imbalance we mentioned. One side, the one with more clout, drafts everything. And that leaves the other party, maybe you as a consumer, or perhaps a small business, with basically zero chance to shape the agreement. You know, you're often signing away certain rights without any real bargaining power.
Right. And that lack of negotiation, that can lead to terms that feel, well, pretty one-sided or burdensome. What are some common examples of how this shows up in the fine print?
Yeah, it's quite insightful, actually, how often you see things like mandatory arbitration clauses. These subtly push any disputes out of the regular courts and into private systems, which, let's be honest, can sometimes favor the company that wrote the contract. Or you get these no oral modification clauses. They mean that anything you discuss verbally doesn't count, only the written word matters. Very rigid.
Yeah.
We also see liquidated damages clauses quite a bit. These basically set huge predetermined penalties if you breach the contract, even if the actual harm you caused was minimal.
Okay. So for you, the person actually signing on the dotted line, what's the practical effect of these kinds of hidden or complex terms?
Well, this really brings up a big question about transparency, doesn't it? These clauses are often buried deep in dense legal language, maybe tiny print. It's almost designed so you'll just skim over it. So this leaves you, the signer, maybe unaware of really important rights you're giving up or significant obligations you're taking on. It's interesting, though, courts in the Philippines have a principle where they strictly interpret any unclear parts, any ambiguities, against the party that drafted the contract.
That's actually a really critical point. So how can you, listening right now, spot these potentially unfair clauses in documents you encounter? What are the key signs, the red flags you should be looking out for?
First off, definitely look for those non-negotiable take-it-or-leave-it terms. That's a big clue right there. Beyond that, be really alert for clauses imposing what seem like excessive penalties or fees. Like Philippine courts have shown they're willing to step in. There was a notable case where attorneys' fees set at 25% were slashed right down to 5%. So they do look at reasonableness.
Okay, got it. Are there specific types of clauses that are almost always red flags, the ones that should really make you pause and think twice?
Yes, definitely. Besides those really high penalties, mandatory arbitration clauses that seem obviously slanted to favor one side are highly suspect. Also, any clause that tries to completely block or severely limit your access to the courts for justice, or terms that let one party just unilaterally change the rules of the contract after you've already signed it. Those are big ones. And like I mentioned, if the language itself is super vague or overly complex, that's another major red flag. The courts tend to hold the drafter responsible for that lack of clarity.
That gives you a lot to watch out for. But say you do find a clause you think is unjust. What can you actually do about it? Are there legal protections available, particularly in the Philippines?
Oh, absolutely. A key protection is something called the doctrine of unconscionability. This is where courts basically step in and look at both the unequal bargaining power and the actual unfairness baked into the terms themselves. We've seen courts use this to reduce those unfair fees, like the attorney's fees case. And there's another interesting one where they completely voided a mortgage's dragnet clause. That's a really sneaky provision that tries to make the property you're mortgaging collateral for basically all your debts with that bank, past and future, not just the loan for that property. The court called it a trap for the unwary.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Knowing the courts can step in like that is reassuring. What other kinds of safeguards exist?
Well, Philippine law itself, particularly the civil code, gives courts the power to reduce penalties they find unconscionable. It also ensures that contract terms don't go against public policy or basic fairness. Plus, you have consumer protection laws designed to stop unfair trade practices generally.
So, practically speaking, if you believe a standard clause in a contract violates your rights, what steps should you take?
Okay, first step, carefully read the entire contract again. Document exactly what your concerns are, which clauses seem unfair, and why. Then, and this is crucial, seek legal advice. Talk to a lawyer. Or you could reach out to organizations like the Public Attorney's Office, the PAO. They can offer guidance. If talking directly to the other party doesn't resolve it, you can then consider filing a formal complaint, or even taking legal action. The goal might be to get the contract canceled, rescission, or to get the unfair parts changed, reformation, or simply to have a court reduce the harshness of specific penalties or terms.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the main takeaway here for you, the listener? While these contracts of adhesion definitely make things like signing up for services quicker, it's really clear they require you to be vigilant. Knowing your rights, knowing what red flags to look for, that's really your first line of defense, isn't it?
Absolutely. And if you step back and look at the bigger picture, it's all about finding that balance between efficiency and commerce and just fundamental fairness in our everyday dealings. The legal landscape, especially what we see in the Philippines, shows a pretty strong commitment to protecting individuals from truly oppressive terms. So maybe this leaves you with an important question to consider. The next time you click that I agree button or sign a standard form, how much will you really think about what you're agreeing to?